This is the Financial News Network. I'm Christy Duffy. eBay earnings were solid for the third quarter. The company beat analyst expectations for both income and revenue. With me to discuss the September quarter and what's next for the company is Frederick Moran of the Benchmark Company. Frederick, how did the September quarter results compare with your own expectations?
eBay's third quarter results showed upside surprise. The company performed across both business segments, with PayPal showing in excess of 20% growth and eBay showing stable, improving revenue and growth. The company had 40 cents in earnings, 3 cents ahead of our estimate and street expectations. And management also offered a very positive outlook for the fourth quarter and full year, and did meaningful share purchases of about $300 million during the quarter, and announced a $2 billion additional buyback authorization. So eBay stock should certainly have some strong support underneath it, and as a result, we raised our price target to 29 from 25.
You see fiscal year 2010 e-commerce growth up 9% over year. Does eBay's third quarter revenue growth compare, and how do you see it accelerating?
The U.S. e-commerce sector should do about 9% growth this year after showing no growth last year because of the recovery in the U.S. consumer. We think that growth rate has essentially gone through its period of acceleration off of the weaker economy last year and is now essentially hitting a plateau. So we should see a sustained growth rate, give or take 9%, but we do not expect further acceleration. We're now facing tougher comparisons, and our take is that the U.S. consumer is still extremely cautious with high unemployment, ongoing mortgage and financing problems, and therefore an unwillingness to spend a material amount of additional dollars. There have been some reports about positive potential holiday sales. I think it will be minimally better than last year's holiday sales. So don't expect any further acceleration in the e-commerce outlook.
The Beige Book out yesterday suggested slightly better consumer spending. Do you see that as seasonal with September back to school and the coming holiday season, or could that be a start of a positive trend?
We did look at the Beige Book report. We also saw the September retail and e-commerce data that came out in the last week or so, and basically it confirms that there remains steady growth in retail, but not accelerating growth. September retail saw a bit of a bounce in the first half of the month with a lot of promotional activity around back to school, but then it tailed off. So yes, retail is still growing at a positive rate, but we do not think it's accelerating. And similarly, e-commerce is sustaining a positive 9% type of level, but not accelerating. So I believe the Beige Book confirms what we already believed, which is that there is a stable amount of consumer demand out there. The consumer is feeling a little bit better coming off of a very disastrous situation a year ago, but it's not accelerating or dramatically improving.
Well, when they do spend, consumers are increasingly turning to fixed price purchases rather than auctions. What is eBay doing to expand further into fixed price commerce?
Well, I think that has been the big push that has essentially saved the core eBay business, the marketplaces segment of eBay. eBay now gets about 60% of its eBay site-based revenue from fixed price purchases. So it really has transitioned from primarily an auction-based website to now a more well-rounded e-commerce type of site where fixed price services is the driver of revenue. I think CEO Donahoe has done a great job the last 3 years reviving what was a saturated auction marketplace, essentially, and created a website that now is more comparable and competitive to what Amazon offers.
And it seems like PayPal is becoming the de facto web currency. So do you see eBay making an even greater move to make PayPal the standard for mobile phone payments?
Yeah, I think PayPal's been a tremendous growth engine for eBay. At a time when the core business was in decline, PayPal was still growing in excess of 20%, and now it's sustaining that momentum with 20% plus growth. They did 22% growth in the quarter, while the core eBay site has turned positive. So it's been very helpful for eBay and driving shareholder value. I think their penetration continues to grow as they add more and more accounts, and they expand into things like mobile with mobile applications. So they will be a leader on the web in terms of debit style payments. What they've now done is added Bill Me Later as their credit style adjunct to PayPal. So if you don't want to have your checking account debited when you pay via PayPal, you can go the Bill Me Later option and have those payments made over time. So Bill Me Later is a nice complement to PayPal. It's growing over 50% year over year. It's aiding the overall growth of PayPal. And I think the combination of that, as well as expansion into things like mobile, really enhance and lock in the supercharged growth of PayPal.
With states continuing to push to tax e-commerce, does eBay risk losing some market share to traditional brick-and-mortar stores? And could it have material impact to eBay revenue?
Well, I think this is a very meaningful concern for most e-commerce players. The potential for states to apply state sales taxes to items sold by these national e-commerce players like Amazon and eBay. In a state like New York, that's a heavy taxation state, the state does force any sale by an e-commerce company to pay a full sales tax. Most other states only charge a sales tax if a retailer is domiciled in that state with some form of operation. So it's possible that in time, as states are in dire need of additional dollars, that they could follow New York and apply the state sales tax to any sale to a customer in the state, even if it's from an out-of-state retailer. That clearly would represent an impairment to the potential growth of companies like Amazon and eBay, because suddenly their ability to sell you a tax-free good would be eliminated. You'd have that is a real cost savings to a consumer who makes a purchase on a site like eBay. So that cost savings would potentially disappear.
Okay, eBay has no debt and approximately $4.9 billion in cash. Do you see acquisitions in the near term?
Yeah, interestingly, their cash went up even further in the third quarter, and I think they now have in excess of $6 billion in cash. They generated about $580 million of free cash flow in the quarter. They also bought back $300 million worth of stock. The company is cash rich with almost $5 a share of cash on the books. I think that given that a lot of that cash is domiciled internationally, it'll be hard to put it to use, but they will probably find selected international acquisitions that help them expand into new markets and widen their footprint. In the U.S., there's no clear, obvious acquisition candidate, and given that their cash in the U.S. is less than $1 billion, I don't see them doing a material acquisition here. I think their U.S. cash will be used to continue to buy back stock, to finance Bill Me Later, and just drive the operations in general. Interestingly, the company is also using the low cost of debt available right now to potentially do a financing where they would sell commercial paper and do a debt offering to bring in a few more billion to the company. So that would even fuel the fire further for things like potential buybacks and acquisitions and what have you. So I don't expect there'll be a game-changing acquisition, but I think there'll be tuck-in things that they do along the way.
All right, thank you, Fred. For more on eBay, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is the Financial News Network. I'm Christy Duffy.